Tonight, targeted retaliation. Iran strikes back, hitting American military bases in Qatar.
The door for diplomacy should be always keep open, but this is not the case right now.
Plus, heat wave hurt.
We've been trying to cool down with water, but it's still really hot.
How Windsorites are finding refuge from near record temperatures. And fireworks night is set to pop off. Getting ready for the biggest pyrotechnic display in Windsor, Detroit.
CTV News with Stephanie Mazzotti.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Stephanie is off. I'm Ricardo, Veneza. We're getting ready for fireworks night in Windsor with thousands of people expected to flock to the waterfront to take in the show over the Detroit River. We'll have more on that in just a few moments. But first, we begin with the region's first true heat wave of the year and of the summer season. Temperatures are reaching into the mid-30s. With the Humidex, it feels more like it's into the mid-40s. It's so hot a section of County Road 22 actually buckled under that heat. Our Bob Belichico joins me now with a look at how people are avoiding folding under that pressure of the extreme heat. Bob.
Ricardo, it's too hot. I'm not into this, not a fan, but I found myself a nice spot here at Devonwood Conservation Area in the shade where it's like a different world. But I'll tell you, I know as soon as I get back into the sun, it's going to feel like I'm in Italy in the middle of summer when it's like 150 degrees. But listen, I ran into a lot of people today who are doing their best to stay cool. I even ran into some kids from St. Pius who definitely had the right idea. Students from St. Pius School cooling off on the beach during their year-end trip.
No, it's really hot, and we've been trying to cool down with water, but it's still really hot.
The heat didn't stop students from having fun. Kids knew how to work their way around the sun and heat.
Go in the shade a lot and wear a hat and some sunscreen.
No shade, however, on County Road 22, where one lane was closed off after the road buckled. Recent bouts of heavy rain and a sudden temperature increase creates pressure under the surface, causing the pavement to enlarge. This is the second time County Road 22 buckled this spring. The first time was back in May.
It's nice when you're sitting out in the shade and enjoying the river and everything. It's a nice view.
Now, how's this for a nicely shaded spot for Omar and his mom to hang out?
I'm glad to be inside because it is hot outside.
I don't know, I'm looking at you going, man, you're going to melt out here, no?
No, it's a nice breeze coming off the river. Perfect day for fishing. I like the heat, but I don't feel it down here too much. So I come down and I have a nice couple of hours here fishing, and then I go home.
It's not too bad right now, but like I said, I'll probably just be out here for 30 minutes, not too long.
This is Chris from Michigan staying active during his trip to Windsor despite the temperatures.
We have a towel and, of course, the water, so yeah, got to do the little things and, you know, and not stay out and push it, so especially as you get older.
Stay hydrated. Eat some fruits, some electrolytes. You know, you get your potassium, your magnesium, your sodium. Stay hydrated. Don't push it too much. Listen to your body.
Daryl Townsend, trainer at True Fitness, says if you're out and feeling off, tone it down just a bit and listen to your body.
You're not training just for today. You got tomorrow and the next day, and the rest of the summer is going to be pretty hot. So, you know, train for the next day, not just the moment.
So I spoke with a couple of heating and cooling companies earlier today who were just too busy to talk to me because they're trying to catch up to all the calls that they are getting during this current heat wave. A reminder, city splash pads are open from 8 until 8 every day as a means to stay cool, and outdoor pools don't open until Wednesday. The beauty of summer, bugs. But hey, Ricardo, I guess it's time to embrace the heat, embrace the bugs, embrace the summertime, because if it was cold outside, it was winter, we'd all be complaining, right? Back over to you.
Yeah, exactly that, Bob. Okay, thank you so much for that. As we turn to our first check of the forecast now with CTV meteorologist Julie Atchison. Julie, a reminder for folks, we are under a heat warning and we are dealing with extreme temperatures.
Absolutely. Lots of great advice there. Conditions across our region oppressive. This is extreme heat. And yes, temperature-wise in the area today, anywhere from 32 to 34. So 33.9 is where we were sitting last hour, feeling like 42 to 43. So this is intense heat. When you're outdoors in heat like this, you want to take many precautions. You don't want to avoid, or rather you should avoid strenuous outdoor activities, especially if you're elderly or young, if you are compromised, if you're spending a lot of time outside. You heard drink plenty of water. Great advice there. Checking on family members and neighbors. Now, when the humidex climbs, things can get very tricky, especially when we hit that 40 to 45. So that's great discomfort. Avoid that exertion. Above 45, that's when there's the possibility of heat stroke. So conditions in our area today have been extreme. I wanted to show you some of the records in terms of, I know you want to know if we broke a record today. Windsor A, 33.1 is the record. That was back in 1983. And Windsor Riverside, 34.5, and that was set back in 2002. So drum roll, our record coming in at that 33.9, so breaking the record set back in 1983. So again, intense heat. Environment Canada, of course, will go into the record book, so that could shift by a decimal or a little bit. Could be a bit warmer, a bit cooler, but at this point, that's what we're looking at. Again, smashing that record right out of the park. So if you are heading out to fireworks forecast tonight, expect beautiful, clear conditions. I can think back to many years of the fireworks, and I don't think it's ever been this hot and humid, feeling like 35 still at 10 o'clock tonight. So absolutely picture perfect conditions for fireworks, although bring lots of water with you if you are heading down. You will need it. Extreme warmth across the region. It will continue, Ricardo, as we head into tomorrow. We are expecting another extremely hot and humid day. We'll talk about when we'll break out of this heat, but the humidity wants to stick around for a bit. So I'll take you through the extended forecast coming up in just a bit.
Okay, Julie, thank you for that. We'll check back in with Julie in just a little bit. But right now, let's go to CTV's Travis Fortnum, who is down by the waterfront. Travis, we've got road closures in effect, shuttles running. Safety is top of mind as we get ready for the Fort fireworks tonight.
Yeah, we also have heat to worry about. I'm not sure if we've mentioned that yet in the newscast, but despite the heat, there are still a lot of people who have had their chairs set up down here in the prime locations for hours now. We got shuttles running and road closures as of 6 p.m. That includes a stretch of Riverside, University Avenue, Wyandotte, and most of the side streets in between. But if you are coming down a little bit later on, Transit Windsor has you covered. There's a free shuttle service and park and ride service from Devonshire Mall. That's also kicked off at 6 p.m. Runs until 9:30, then starts again after the fireworks show to get you back to your car. If you're coming down with kids, as Ricardo mentioned, some safety tips from Windsor Police. Take a picture of what they are wearing and plan a designated meeting spot before you head out, just in case you get separated. And if they're old enough to have an ID, have them carry their ID with them and make sure they memorize your phone number, again, just in case you get separated. Also, you heard Julie mention you're going to want to stay hydrated. Bring some water for the kids. Bring some water for you. Dress in light colors, light layers. It's going to be hot, but as Julie mentioned again, that means clear conditions for the show. A great view from pretty much anywhere down by the river. That show, again, starting at 10:08 p.m., running for a little longer than 20 minutes. And then after that, we'll have you covered at CTV News Windsor at 11. We'll have all the sights and sounds that you might have missed. And I mean, hey, we got a prime spot right down here at the river, so I'm just going to be hanging out. Ricardo?
Okay, Travis, thank you for that. Looking forward to the show tonight, and we'll, of course, check back in with you tonight at 11. Well, our question of the day is, are you watching the fireworks tonight over the Detroit River? You can go to our website to cast your vote. That's at ctvnewswindsor.ca. On Friday, we asked if you were frustrated with the amount of road construction happening in Windsor, Essex. Of almost 1,100 votes, 76% say yes. Well, there was a heightened police presence along the Thames River in Chatham today. Chatham-Kent police were seen combing the riverbanks throughout the city of Chatham, including near the 3rd Street Bridge. But police say there is no threat to public safety. A coordinated search effort includes aerial and marine support from both Chatham-Kent Police and Ontario Provincial Police, as well as other emergency officials. No further details were provided today about that search. Windsor police say a 28-year-old motorcyclist was critically injured in a crash in the city around 9:30 last night. The crash happened at the intersection of Dougal Avenue and the westbound on-ramp to the EC Road. The ensuing cleanup and investigation saw the area closed right until 11 a.m. today. Police say the motorcycle was traveling south on Dougal when it collided with an SUV turning onto the expressway on-ramp. The 28-year-old rider was sent to hospital with what police describe as life-threatening injuries. A police investigation is underway after an alleged break-in and assault in South Windsor. Police say they responded to a home on Askin Avenue just before 3 a.m. Sunday. They say the suspect attacked a sleeping woman in her own room. After a struggle, the suspect fled, leaving the woman with minor injuries. Windsor police say a search of the area was unsuccessful. They're asking anyone in the area who may have information or video to come forward. Well, Essex LPP are asking homeowners to help when it comes to finding potential video evidence. The Provincial Police Service is launching a CamSafe program. That's a database of residential and commercial security cameras within a community. Officers would be able to see where all the registered cameras are, allowing investigators to speed up investigations and eliminate having to go door to door. Now, the OPP says officers will not have access to the security cameras or cloud-based accounts. All he'll know is where the cameras are. Permission is needed from the property owner, and there's no obligation to share that footage. Registrants can only view their own information and can delete their account or change their information at any time. An update now to a story we previously told you about. The city's 1,500 inside workers have voted in favor of a new collective agreement by more than 88%. The new 4-year deal includes improved work hours and wage increases that total nearly 13% over 4 years. QP 543 says employees have been working without a contract now since December. A surprise vacancy at Windsor City Council. Ward 2 councillor Fabio Costante has resigned after accepting a position as the new Chief Executive Officer of the Windsor-Essex Community Housing Corporation. The next municipal election isn't scheduled until October 26, 2026. City Council will now have to decide what to do with that vacancy in the interim. Costante's resignation from council will be effective as of June 26th. He starts in his new role July 7th. Costante says he feels he can do more for the community in this new role, considering the ongoing housing crisis.
A lot of the things that I ran on when I first got elected to council in 2018 and then re-elected in 2022 have been, mostly accomplished. Of course, there's going to be some unresolved matters, but for the most part, a lot of the things that I ran on, we've been able to move forward and achieve.
After a 3-year delay, work is finally underway to move long-term care beds from Windsor out to Amherstburg. Our Michelle Molesky brings us that update tonight.
Construction started at Fryer and Richmond Streets in Amherstburg this past spring. They're building a new 160-bed long-term care home.
We've been talking about this for a very long time.
Deputy Mayor Chris Gibbs says the idea of a new LTC in town first started in 2019 when the property was sold by the town to Arch Corporation. Just a year before, Amherstburg bought the 3 acres from the Catholic School Board after it closed St. Bernard School.
We're very, very happy to see the work actually begin.
Ontario formally announced the LTC home in 2022. Gibbs says it was delayed because of financing amid soaring expenses.
With the changes in construction costs, they had to come up with a new agreement. We did have to make a few adjustments because they needed to purchase some more town land for their wastewater, their stormwater management plan.
The home should be done by 2027. It would be the second LTC for the community.
It's one of those cradle-to-grave ideas that you can spend your whole life in a small town, which is, I think, unique to Canada in a way. It's very much needed because our current long-term care home, Richmond Terrace, is full.
And with a community center next door and a high school across the park, Gibb is hopeful the location will lead to unique opportunities.
There may be some synergies with, co-op students. It might be able to help out at the new long-term care. So it's sort of a cluster of buildings.
The Amherstburg project is the redevelopment and transfer of 59 beds currently funded in Windsor at Chateau Park Long-Term Care Home. When Amherstburg opens, the ministry says this location will close. Michelle Molesky, CTV News.
The province's golf cart pilot program has been extended to include Boblo Island, effective immediately. This is the second application now after the first was denied 2 years ago. The Ministry of Transportation pilot program allows golf carts to be driven on roads with a speed limit of up to 50 kilometers an hour. That's between April 1st and November 1st. The town now needs to pass a bylaw outlining that golf carts are only allowed on the island and nowhere else in town. The pilot program is scheduled to run until 2031. NATO is ramping up its rearmament efforts in the face of changing times. Still ahead on Windsor's News Leader, how this shift could impact the alliance. And we introduce you to a 6-year-old and his lemonade stand. We'll tell you why he's looking to turn lemons into cash, and it's not for toys. His story when we return. And tomorrow, a verdict in a manslaughter trial of an OPP officer involved in a deadly 401 shooting. The critical 87 seconds that changed everything. That's tomorrow on CTV News at 6. A tit-for-tat response from Iran to America's weekend attack on Tehran's nuclear installations. 10 Iranian missiles were fired towards U.S. targets in Qatar and knocked out of the sky. Iran saying they lobbed the same number of missiles as the U.S. dropped bombs on Saturday. Here's CTV's Joy Melvin with the latest on the escalating conflict.
Explosions boomed over the night sky, terrifying images of missiles seen over Doha and posted on social media. Iranian state TV said it fired missiles at the Al Adid U.S. military base that President Donald Trump visited just 1 month ago. Qatar says its air defenses managed to intercept Iranian missiles, and no casualties have been reported. The attack was announced on Iran state TV proportionate. Iran said to the attack by the U.S. it was bomb for bomb. This was retaliation, Iran says, for the U.S. bombing Saturday. Satellite imagery shows the damage to 3 nuclear facilities targeted by the U.S. President Donald Trump warned Iran this was a one-off and not to strike back, or else.
Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier.
Iran reportedly gave Qatar advance notice of the attacks, temporarily closing its airspace, U.S. military bases, and major U.S. cities on high alert. The president meeting with his national security team and the Trump administration stressing,
we're not at war with Iran, we're at war with Iran's nuclear program.
But it comes as the president, sure to anger Iran, floated the idea of regime change.
Of course, Iran would like to escalate in response to the Israeli and the American attacks, but we will see exactly whether Iran is actually able to effectively respond. And I think this is what we're going to see over the next 48 hours.
Throughout all this, U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff has kept in touch with Iranian officials. The Trump administration still leaving the door open to some kind of diplomatic resolution. Joy Melvin, CTV News, Washington.
Now, the Prime Minister says he spoke with the U.S. President overnight about de-escalating the conflict in the Middle East. Mark Carney and top cabinet ministers are now watching developments from Brussels as they attend a Canada-EU summit to conduct other business as well. CTV's Jeremy Sherrill is traveling with the Prime Minister.
A morning visit to a military cemetery kick-started Prime Minister Mark Carney's first full day in Belgium. A ceremony to honor hundreds of fallen Canadian soldiers buried here after the First and Second World War. Ahead of this Canada-EU summit, a meeting between Carney and European leaders focused on joint security and defense.
Very, very warm welcome to this EU-Canada summit.
We look forward to moving to an ever closer partnership with the European Union.
Here, Carney signed a new security and defense pact with European Union leaders aimed at diversifying its trade and defense industrial partnerships, billed as a first step towards more defense procurement from Europe and an eventual plan to get Canada into the Rearm Europe military program.
It will help us deliver on our new requirements for capabilities more rapidly and more effectively. It will help build our industries, secure our jurisdictions.
But Carney's European trip has been dominated already by the escalating war in the Middle East. The Prime Minister spoke with President Trump overnight and says de-escalation was a focus of their conversation.
Where the state of Iran has been a sponsor of terrorism, Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and beyond. and where at least in our opinion, Canada has listed the Iranian Revolutionary Guard as a terrorist organization, active terrorist organization. These are violations of international law.
Carney travels to The Hague in the morning for a highly anticipated NATO meeting where it's expected the conflict in the Middle East will dominate too. NATO's Secretary General was pressed on it today.
That is why NATO has said Iran should not, and this is a consistent position of NATO, Iran should not have its hands on a nuclear weapon. So, and I would not agree that this is against international law what the US did.
The Hague summit will also see the alliance look at a new baseline spending target of 5% of GDP. Canada only this month committed to meeting the current 2% target this fiscal year, a decade after the alliance agreed to it. Jeremy Sherrill, CTV News, Brussels.
A 6-year-old Bell River boy is taking life's lemons and hoping to turn them into more than just lemonade. Landon Bevan is trying to raise funds to ensure memories with his grandfather aren't cut short. CTV's Robert Lothian brings us that story tonight.
Under a blazing sun, Landon Bevan is hard at work.
Thanks, boys. Good job.
The 6-year-old, along with his family, serving lemonade Saturday outside their home.
We have little signs set up so that the people know that we have lemonade.
The Bell River resident has been crafting ideas to raise money for a cause near and dear to his heart.
We have like little balloons, like knowing that like we have like my grandpa has cancer.
He's pretty smart for a 6-year-old.
Landon's grandfather, Roy Knight, was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in February.
The chemo really takes a toll on somebody. It, out of the 2 weeks, I normally have 4 good days out of the 2 weeks.
After months of chemotherapy, he hopes to undergo NanoKnife, a procedure using pulses of electricity to destroy cancer cells that's not offered in Canada.
There are a lot of people who we have met through online support groups, but also from around the world who have done NanoKnife. It's added 10 or more years to their life.
The family is hoping to raise about $80,000 for NanoKnife surgery in Florida, and with rates of pancreatic cancer on the rise, they feel Canada has more work to do.
There really does need to be more research done on pancreatic cancer treatment guidelines.
For Landon and the rest of Knight's grandchildren, each fundraiser is just hope for another day of memories.
Go fishing.
He goes fishing?
Yeah, and he makes the funniest jokes.
He's pretty funny.
The surgery has been tentatively set for July 24th if they can raise enough.
Hopefully this, NanoKnife helps to see the kids grow up.
Robert Lothian, CTV News, Bell River.
Wishing all the best for the Bevan family. Well, today marks the 40th anniversary of Canada's worst terrorist attack, the bombing of an Air India flight, killing all 329 people on board. Most of the victims were Canadian. On June 23, 1985, Air India Flight 182 took off from Montreal en route to Mumbai, India. A bomb planted by 6 separatists exploded on board over the Atlantic Ocean just off the coast of Ireland. The bombing remains the largest mass murder in Canadian history. Of the 329 victims, 268 were Canadians. 1/3 were children. Events are being held right across the country, as well as in India and Ireland, to remember the victims. Turning to the markets, strength in technology and materials helped Canada's main stock index close higher today. You can see they're climbing 112 points. Upward trends for both the Dow and the NASDAQ as well, 375 points and 184 points, respectively. The Canadian dollar heading in the other direction, down to 72.70 cents U.S. Gold up more than $9 an ounce, and a big drop for oil, more than $5 a barrel. Well, for some, walking is a hard-won achievement. Coming up, the cutting-edge tech to help more people take those first life-changing steps.
Great photo to share with you, and what a remarkable capture. Thank you so much, Rhonda Sutherland, for sending this one in. Those are some brand new babies. In terms of our forecast, the extreme heat continues for tomorrow and the chance of showers as we push towards midweek. Our forecast becomes a little bit more unsettled, but it's still going to be hot and humid. I'll have all your local forecast details and a look ahead at the next 7 coming up.
Okay, Julie is back with her extended look at the forecast. Julie, as we talked about earlier, it has been hot and sweltering really right across extreme southwestern Ontario, and we're hoping that there might be a glimmer of hope for some relief from this heat.
There's a bit of relief in the forecast. It's not going to be as extreme, but we're still going to be talking about humid conditions across southern Ontario through the week. And there's a front that's going to play a bit of a game with us. It's going to slump its way over the region. And as it stalls out, we'll have a chance for showers, but I'm not expecting it to fully come through. Just looking at the latest data, we are seeing Quebec right now coming in at 36.1 degrees. In Toronto, the hot spot in Ontario at 35.7. So this heat really gripping Ontario and southern Quebec as well. Temperature, as you know, climbing high this afternoon and breaking records. 18 records falling yesterday in southern Ontario. Again tonight, we're going to see those records shooting up, and we're shattering them. 34 degrees feels like 43 out there. Satellite radar keeping us in the clear. We are under the influence of high pressure at the surface and in the upper atmosphere. So what that means is this sinking air, and as the air sinks, it compresses and it warms. And when you have it stacked at the surface and in the upper atmosphere, you have a lot of stability. You can see some showers riding along the ridge up to the northwest. Not able to get in, but eventually the ridge will be breaking down as we head through the day tomorrow, allowing this frontal boundary to slowly start to slump in. So we'll lose the main stability in the forecast, and then we'll introduce the chance for showers and thunderstorms. So in terms of this front coming towards our area, as I mentioned, it likely stalls out, and as a result, not coming through, so not able to sweep the heat and humidity out. Now we will see those numbers coming down just a bit, so it won't be as extreme or as intense. But you can see this huge dome of heat that's encompassing a lot of North America. We have some cooler conditions on the northern side of it. And in northern Ontario, actually, in the last couple of hours, the temperatures have dropped right off. So that front bringing some cooling relief areas to the north, but not so for Essex County. Temperatures overnight, anywhere from 24 to 25 degrees. You'll wake up to the extreme heat in the morning, not a break through the overnight. Into the afternoon, 34 once again. Possibility of a thunderstorm, although the probability on the lower end at about a 40% chance. Winds will continue out of the southwest. Now, this front, as it starts to come in, I mentioned we'll be flirting with some showers, possibility of some thunderstorms, but the forecast model not materializing a whole lot. So don't expect to get a lot of moisture out of this front as it comes in. And as it stalls over the area, here's what happens is we'll just see a few showers and storms develop, and that'll be our weather story through the week. So you'll be expecting things to just really clear out and things to be much calmer and more comfortable. But in terms of the forecast, we're still talking humid into the mid-30s. So it's been mid-40s. It'll be mid-40s again tomorrow. Wednesday, mainly cloudy with showers, 27. Our Siles heating and cooling forecast. Thursday into Friday, 29 to 30 degrees. Those probabilities, 60%, but that's along a front. That's not rain all day by any means, just pop-up showers. Back into a mix of sun and clouds Saturday and Sunday. We're back to 32 on Sunday. Conditions across our area. Summer has just arrived on Friday night, and we are slammed into the summer season with some record-breaking heat across the region. The heat and humidity continue tomorrow, and we will see a bit of a break as we move through midweek, and hopefully we'll get into a few showers.
Lifetime. Brought to you by Safeguard Medical Alert Systems.
Okay, Julie, thank you for that. What a start to summer indeed. Well, a Cambridge-based robotics company is hoping its take on technology meant to help people walk again will take off. And as CTV's Hannah Schmidt reports, the mission hits close to home for those within the company.
Good job. Oh, you can put it by your feet. In the tranquil Cambridge Butterfly Conservatory, 11-year-old Mitchell is walking. Not with a cane, but with something far more futuristic, a robotic exoskeleton.
Mitchell was born with a rare genetic condition that we figured out
probably in his second year of life, but we started to notice some issues when he was about 8 months old. He has epilepsy.
Mark isn't just Mitchell's dad. He's also a sales specialist at Trexo Robotics, the company behind the exoskeleton, giving his son and hundreds of other kids a new kind of freedom.
We had one of these devices delivered to him just before COVID closed the world down. Within about 6 months, he was walking upwards of a kilometer.
Trexo attaches to a walker, learns a child's movements, then helps power each step forward.
He's in grade 5 now. He's probably done 2.7 million steps on the device.
Just getting to watch your child walk for the first time is, it's that milestone. It's just that moment that you'll always remember, and it's so surreal.
Play, pause, turn up and down the speed, but to put it and take a break, you just hit the stand button and it locks the legs into a standing position.
Controlled by a tablet, the device adapts to each child's unique range of motion.
The machine itself has motors on the hips and motors on the knees, so it measures what they're able to do.
Devices can cost up to $40,000, something Mark says is still out of reach for many families.
We did a GoFundMe campaign to be able to offset the cost of it. We also have an arm of our company that helps families do fundraising.
The company now has 450 devices in 40 countries, from home users to hospital rehab programs.
We're still in Canada, and we just recently launched in Hong Kong. And hopefully next year we'll start distributing in the U.S.
And while Trexo's goal is simple, to walk, its impact is anything but.
I say it's a game changer for our family. It's the best equipment that we have.
He could barely hold his head up 5-6 years ago, and now he's a different beast. He can stand up in the shower with me now. He can do lots of things because he's strong enough to do it.
Hannah Schmidt, CTV News, Cambridge.
Artificial intelligence technology is becoming more commonplace in our day-to-day lives, and maybe none more so than for students. AI isn't just helpful in finishing assignments. In some cases, it can do essentially all the work. As CTV's Emma Convey reports, educators are trying to find the right response.
Ed McHugh is a business and marketing professor at 3 post-secondary schools in the Halifax area. Over the last few years, he's noticed a troubling trend. Students using artificial intelligence softwares to cheat.
Having one student do it is serious, but it's increasing. Word has gotten out quite rapidly on this language, and so it's being leaned on by a number of students.
McHugh recently took to social media after he noticed a number of students used AI on a recent assignment.
As an educator, you always feel some sense of sadness, sometimes anger. Because you feel betrayed, and you also feel like they must think that you're not very bright to catch some of this stuff.
I would never use it to do my actual work because it's really stupid. Like if I'll be honest, I will give it a math equation and it doesn't know how to solve it.
There are ways to detect it, but it's tough.
You have an email that's not written very well in grammar-wise, but the attached assignment is in perfect English.
The software follows a certain format in its answers. So when it's copied, it's obvious.
But then after that, it gets really tricky. It comes down to your word versus the student's word.
Some students feel it enhances their learning, but others disagree.
When I use it, it's to get better understanding of what the questions are asking. So usually just re-put them in different words.
For paper reviewing and for some just for some information.
In the arts specifically, it does kind of hinder the programs because you are relying a lot on social views.
Rules vary from classroom to classroom. Each course has its own AI policy. But in general, cheating and plagiarizing are a no across the board.
On your first assignment, if you're caught and it's proven, you get 0 for the assignment. If you do it again in the course, you get 0 for the course.
This professor explains that AI can be a good thing if used appropriately. But students who rely on it entirely are simply getting an artificial education. Emma Convey, CTV News, Halifax.
Coming up on Windsor's News Leader, tensions with the U.S. have some Canadians rethinking travel plans and turning to more affordable staycations instead.
It's the summer of music. Enter Bryce at ctvwindsor.ca for your chance to win a pair of VIP tickets to see Lee Bryce, the Reclaws, and more at Rock the Park, Saturday, July 12th, plus an overnight stay in London.
Pickleball players in Amherstburg now have a permanent home. Town officials hosted the grand opening of 8 new courts outside the Libro Center this weekend. Players have been using makeshift courts and facilities outside of town. The cost of the new courts comes in at about $480,000. Amherstburg's Pickleball Association contributed $24,000 towards this project and plans to continue supporting projects in the future. There's also hope the club will bring in tournaments to the region.
So I can recall in the early days talking to some of the counselors and saying, I just attended this phenomenal tournament at such and such a place, and we want to bring this to Amherstburg. So stay tuned. We're going to be hosting some very grand tournaments.
The annual Rob and Tricia Morneau Memorial Baseball Tournament has raised a record amount for kids in need. This year's tournament brought in $10,000. Those are funds that will support families in need with registration costs for Riverside minor baseball and hockey. 8 U13 teams competed in the tournament over the weekend. The memorial event is in honor of Rob and Tricia Morneau, who were heavily involved in local sports.
Every year, you know, it just gives us so much pleasure to know that we're doing this in his honor to keep his memory alive and help these kids that may not be able to play otherwise.
Fantastic stuff. Well, tensions between Canada and the U.S. continue to see Canadians stay north of the border, and even as we move into the busy summer travel season, they're staying here. As CTV's Dylan Dyson explains, the staycation is helping people show their patriotism and helping their budget.
Camping across eastern Ontario. That's the plan this summer for Laura Ginden and her family.
We like to go up to Picton. Quinty Isle is a nice campground. Barry's Bay. We kind of just travel all over Ontario.
A staycation of sorts, choosing to change their summer plans and avoid traveling to the United States.
We thought about it. We were thinking about maybe Lake George, but with everything going on, we decided against it.
It's for that reason that Splash Valley in Cobden is a hot destination as summer officially arrives.
I've had some feedback from people that have booked and said they normally travel and they're not going to. This year they're going to stay local, so I believe we've seen an increase in the bookings.
Tourist attractions across Ottawa and the Valley catering to families this summer who are looking to stay local and see their dollar go further. Ottawa Tourism unveiling the Ottawa Pass, giving access to 5 local attractions for $100.
In the current economy, people are also looking to get the best value for their buck. And that's what we're trying to target, you know, give people an affordable but fun and vibrant vacation in Ottawa.
At the Whitewater Inn in Beachburg, they say at under $200 a night, they can beat the price of major hotels, creating a more affordable getaway.
Going out of town, like the shock value is a little holy. So you get a lot more value for your dollar coming here, and then you have extra budget to spend on other things like, you know, renting bikes, going rafting, going riverboarding, golf.
Ginden finding good value this summer in what the local region has to offer.
The campgrounds are pretty reasonable. They've gone up over the years, but I would say it's good value around here.
Dylan Dyson, CTV News, Cobden.
Unscripted, unpredictable, and unapologetic. Wake up with Hannah and Johnny on 93.9 Virgin Radio.
This is your CTV Windsor Hour Community Calendar. The tradition continues. Canada Day celebrations in Amherstburg, Tuesday, July 1st. Bring the family to Toddy Jones Park for a day full of family fun. See you next time on Our Community.
Okay, it's time to check in on what's happening now with Melanie Kentner. Melanie, you have some more information for us from the final weekend of Carousel of the Nations.
That's right. The 50th anniversary of Carousel drew massive crowds, surpassing expectations and leaving organizers thrilled with the response. The executive director of the Multicultural Council of Windsor-Essex County says attendance at this past weekend's villages topped 100,000 people, putting the overall attendance for the 2 weekends at 150,000. Fred Francis says the economic impact from the festival is estimated at well over $1 million. He says many villages reported long lineups and sellouts over the weekend.
It's a testament to the thousands of hours and thousands of people that help put on Carousel. But we can't say thank you enough to the community. And I think it really speaks to the value of diversity in our area and the appreciation of diversity in our area and how Windsor-Essex really is a welcoming community for all people.
We've got highlights from the event online at ctvnewswindsor.ca.
Yeah, great to see that the event was such a hit, Melanie. We've also got some useful information online over at our website ahead, of course, for fireworks tonight.
Yes, if you're heading down to the fireworks, we've posted some useful tips and links. Things like road closures, where to catch the free shuttle, and viewing options. Police have also released some safety tips to keep in mind. The fireworks begin just before 10 p.m. You can check out all the info on our website. And in our social spotlight tonight, it's definitely fish fly season in southwestern Ontario. Oh my. Now this post says only in Leamington, but as we both know, Ricardo, the fish flies, like other spots in Windsor-Essex as well, this drive-through window is completely covered though.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. You know, I went down to Leamington this weekend and that was my first time spotting them this season. Of course, I know them from growing up in the region. I don't think a summer is complete without seeing the fish flies, but I haven't really seen too many of them in the Windsor area, at least in my own travels.
Yeah, they're kind of like specific spots, but they're definitely there.
Yeah, definitely along the waterfronts for sure. Okay, Melanie, thank you for that. That's a look at what's happening now. Creative chemistry. When two artists collaborate, sparks fly both on canvas and in their hearts. We'll bring you those details when we return.
The latest news to start your day.
Interviews, conversations with the top officials, the difference makers, and personalities in Windsor-Essex.
Only on Windsor-Essex #1 morning show.
It's Mornings with Mike and Meg on AM 800.
Well, it's going to be hot on the bike, so hopefully he's got some water with him. But it's going to be hot no matter what we do, Julie, as this heat wave continues with its grip on the region.
Absolutely. At least when you're on a bike, you get a bit of a breeze, but that breeze is extremely warm. In terms of our Humidex this afternoon, we've been talking, everyone's been talking about the extreme heat. As we head into tomorrow, not much of a break. We could see a pop-up shower. There is the risk for an isolated thunderstorm. The ridge starts to break down, which will mean more instability in the forecast. And that's why we have the chance for showers as we head into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Now, note the daytime high for tomorrow, Ricardo, 34. Once again, it will feel like the mid-40s. This is extreme heat and humidity. By Wednesday, still quite humid. So the 27 is not going to be much of a break, but it will feel a bit better. It won't only feel like the low 30s heading into, or the mid-30s heading into Thursday and Friday. Chance for showers. This is not widespread rainfall by any means. This is just a chance for a few pop-up showers. As we head toward the weekend, a mix of sun and cloud. Daytime highs anywhere from 29 to 32 degrees, 30 as we move toward a Monday. So we're in it. Summer officially arrived on a Friday night, and we are sock into the summer season with this extreme heat wave moving in. Temperature-wise, over the next 7 will be well above normal for this time of year. Back to you.
Yeah, yeesh. Okay, Julie, thank you for that. Well, finally for us tonight, it's not out of the ordinary for artists to collaborate, but it's not every day that collaboration ends in love. CTV's Adam Sawatsky brings us that story tonight.
Hello, everybody.
Timothy Wilson Hoey never expected to move out to the country.
Hi.
Let alone befriend this neighbor named Kevin.
Kevin is just a sensible name for a goat.
The first thing Timothy did in his new house was construct this wall of old things.
It's an old man museum.
A collection of stories, Timothy says, from his family's past and his friends.
In a funny way, I'm a custodian of all these things.
Then Timothy set up a new studio to create all sorts of paintings, including his iconic O Canada collection that he frames with hockey sticks.
I don't know everything about Canada, but I try.
And it was while creating this new life for himself, after ending a long-term marriage, that Timothy happened to meet fellow artist Zandra Xochitl, who was going through something similar.
Wow, I can be very real with this person, and I think we can be really good friends.
The friendship deepened quickly, thanks to authentic conversations about life and art, before one of them suggested they swap canvases and start collaborating.
And it felt like a real truth moment, because you're giving something that you've made, and to have somebody like potentially destroy it.
Like opening your heart to someone, there's the risk you'll get hurt, but also a chance you'll be healed.
I mean, it was almost like couples counseling without seeing anybody, right? It was like, we're working on this thing together and we're solving it.
And rather than wrecking each other's work or compromising themselves, Zandra and Timothy began co-creating something new.
For both of us, it's been really freeing that way to create work. Then we've been lucky that people have liked it.
I mean, it kind of feels like magic sometimes.
It kind of feels like falling in love, which Zandra and Timothy eventually did, which Kevin seems to approve of. And when this painting of Kevin is complete, it'll be displayed somewhere different than that wall honoring the past, because Zandra and Timothy's collaborations are celebrating their present together. Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Saanich.
Well, fantastic to see a beautiful connection blossom into some beautiful art there as well. Well, that is our time tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to stay up to date throughout your evening, you can, of course, go over to our website. That's at ctvnewswindsor.ca. I'm Ricardo Veneza, and for everyone here at CTV on both sides of the camera, have a great night. We'll see you at 11.